we were supposed to have a financial meeting, and I let it slip, and we didn't have it. With being a leader of the house, we were supposed to have, let's just say we had it scheduled weekly or bi-weekly on a Sunday, just for example. And I say, well, we kind of have it dialed in pretty good. And I just skipped the meeting. That's a pick six on my behalf, because then I'm not being the leader that I need to be. Welcome back to episode 9, the KB Money Show. How you doing, man? I got my host Keon, the Ivy League scholar, and then y'all know me, KB. Let's get into it, man. Let's not waste no time. How your week been? What's been good with you? We hadn't talked. What's up? What's good?
Man, I'm doing great, man. I'm feeling blessed. Glad to make it to another week and another recording of the of this pod here. I really want to appreciate the people that have been tuning in. We've been having a faithful few. Especially we had one guy comment, Chance Platt, and I wanted to shout him out. I saw that. I thought that was cool. He's encouraging us. I'm encouraging him to keep encouraging us. But other than that, people like that, I just been pushing me forward. Been having a week where I've just been focused on positivity and just been looking forward to this all week. So my week's been pretty good. How about yours?
When you say pretty good, what does that mean? Like, give me a specific example. What I'm learning is a lot of times we stay surface level and we say, "Hey, what's going on? How you doing?" Good, good. And it's like more depths and more layers. It's just a default response that we all fall into sometimes. And so, what specifically went good this week as it relates to spiritually, your health, your finances, or your career, or your
I,
family?
I would say one good week for me. I feel like I've made some progress internally on just getting more focused on what my goals are. Especially if it just feels like life happens in phases. And right now I'm in that post grad phase, and I've really been just getting a handle on the direction I want to go in. And I found myself blessed to be in an awesome city and at an awesome company with an awesome opportunity. And so I'm really just kind of figuring out what do I want the next 5, 10 years to look like. And so I've been going through a lot of opportunity, a lot of exercises, and I would say probably before when we were talking in Africa, like that was when I was in the middle of like ideation, like what am I going to do? What am I doing? What am I going to do? And so it's just pretty cool that we've had the chance to start this again. Now that I'm more so in the phase of okay, I'm starting to see the vision. Now I need to figure out the how. And so to sum it up into a short answer, I don't know if I can sum it up in a short answer, but because that's just how good it was. But I feel like I got some direction to put in the short answer. I found some direction. I found out my GPS is working. It's still working a little bit, and so that's what I would say.
Okay. Yeah, just for me, again, like I said, this month is a planning month for me. No New Year's resolutions, but hey, New Year's resolutions is better than nothing. It's just that we all know that when you set the New Year's resolution is, will you keep it? Will you be consistent with it? And so the thing for me is being consistent. So as I'm planning, it's like, what can I first I need to understand where I'm at, but then realistically, what can I be consistent with? Like, you could put a bunch of things down, but like, are you going to be able to move the needle with consistency, to be able to hit those targets? And so that's what I'm currently doing right now. It absolutely is taking a lot of intellectual horsepower, if you will, like just
Mhm.
mental energy for sure, because you have to dig deep, you have to process, you have to think, you have to reflect, you have to be real. And even
Yeah.
being real with what are the facts. You might write some things down and you're like, ooh, I don't really like how that turned out.
Yeah.
Or you do like some of the things that you're seeing that you're writing out as you're answering certain questions. And so that's where I'm at right now. That's where my head is right now, which is a good segue. What I wanted the theme for today to be is, what is your stat line? What are your stats? So a lot of times we know all of LeBron's stats, which is cool.
Yeah. To the period, to the decimal.
We know if you are part of fantasy football, we won, I won. Cool.
Yeah.
You watching sports, football. What's the team record? What's your team? Like your team, your favorite
Yeah.
team. And so
My
we won,
squad.
we lost. I'm mad. We 9-1. We nine and we. But you're not actually on the field in that. What are the stats? What are your stats? You know what this person is worth. You know what that person is worth. You know what this person's birthday is. You know who they married to. who they not married to anymore, the
You keep
drama,
up with the injury report.
the injury report, something happened to someone in the news. And, we wish everyone good health and all that great stuff.
Right.
All the other things, but you aren't as in tune with your stats, which is first priority or should be first priority. And so that's what the theme is for today. What's your stat line?
Man.
And somebody got to be the one to say it, right? Like
Yeah.
it's unpopular. It doesn't feel good when you hear it, but think about when you go through your day to day and when you're having conversations or you hear people talking and you might be one of those people talking. I might, you heard about Biden or you heard about Trump
Right.
implemented this or Biden implemented that or didn't do this. Like Vivek, Elon, oh man, that they're about to impact the DOJ and this and that, and they about to do an audit on the government. But have you done an audit on yourself?
Right.
I'm gonna spin it to you and let you comment on that and talk through that. But that's what
Wow.
my headspace is for today, and so we're gonna keep it there, and then we'll let it happen.
It just reminds me of something key that you said. I think it was a couple of days ago. You just said, it's the reason that we like sports so much because we can relate to it. And so, especially football. And so I don't know, one of the first things that came up to me or came to my mind when you brought this up was relationships, because that's a team sport. You know what I mean? And so just to keep it short, I feel like whenever you're in a relationship, and on purposes, I'm not a relationship guru. I just happen to be in one, and so nobody's giving advice. But I found my role, I'm kind of like a cornerback, and I'm playing defense against the devil. And when I say the devil, I mean like arguments and just emotions and things like that. And so I look at like the way a cornerback would get a pass breakup, I get an argument breakup. Like I stop that argument before it even happened. Lockdown, what they be doing? Seatbelt, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? So that's how,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
like just funny stuff like that, or how many smiles can I mean that's cheesy, but you know what I'm saying? Something like that. Or you got to gamify it, like things like simple things, because I can see how, especially after you think of you see couples, and we see it as so like complex, like, oh, how can that 90-year-old couple, they've been together 50, 60 years, how did they do it? They must got the formula. The formula is so simple. We the ones trying to multiply and divide, when they just like, if you just every day 1 + 1 + 1 every single day, do that every day. Wake up every day, say I love each other. Just something so simple. You're like, oh, but you mean I didn't have to do this? I'm not saying don't try to go above and beyond, but don't forget the little things. And I guess to your point, figure out a way to gamify and figure out your stats. Figure out a way to track the way you're performing. And that's it. I just gave the example of relationships in a intimate setting, but you could do that in your workplace. How many compliments am I getting from my peers? How many times is my manager praising me? How many times is my manager coming to me with constructive feedback? How many times is he having to repeat that constructive feedback? You know what I'm saying? Like that, I'm like that's a good example that like my manager imprints on us. He's like, hey guys, of course, I'm gonna have to teach y'all. Y'all have to learn this stuff. But there's gonna come a point in time where I'm gonna nudge you a bit and say, hey, I've told you this, we've had this conversation before. And those are the conversations you want to eliminate because you want to maximize your time and your manager's time, whoever the other person in the relationship's time. And so, in summary, I think relationship building is a good game. So I think, what are your stat line? How can you measure it? What do you think?
Yeah, yeah. No, that's all good points there. Since you were talking about the relationships, we were talking about the relationships. I got a list of things right here, and so I'm married, so I'm gonna talk from that perspective. And if you benefit from it, I love it. And I'm gonna just read off a couple of them
For sure.
because it's really important to know where you are before you can implement anything or track anything. And a lot of times we are avoiding what the facts are sometimes because we know we need to, how like with weight you don't want to step on that scale because you like, ooh, I know I'm, like, ooh, I don't
Yeah.
want to see what's going on. Everybody's probably been there somewhere, or hey, I don't want to look at my
Yeah.
finance because I know I don't want to look at these statements. I don't want to
Yeah.
track it because I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
But once you can face the facts and get past the emotions of it, then you can start the process of, okay, this is where I'm at. This is what I need to implement. This is the strategy that I can, the play sports. Hey, this is the facts. We suck right now. I suck in this
Yeah.
area, but that doesn't mean forever. All right, let's get back in the lab. Let's see what we need to do, call a play, and get out there and run it, and then just track it. And so here's some questions around relationships because we're talking about that specifically. I'm not gonna read all of them, but I'm gonna just read a couple of them. What are the facts about your direct authentic communication with your spouse.
That's a good one. Asking me?
What'd you say? I'm here.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
I was saying that's a good one. I like that one.
Okay. Oh man. What are the facts? What are the facts about your intimacy and vulnerability with your spouse? This is some real talk, man. Like this
It's a good
real
question.
talk. Bro,
Hmm.
like your situation is doing a computer. Like it's
Oh, I'm glitching?
yeah,
Hold
you
on.
glitching like the Matrix or something. I don't know what's happening with that, bro. Like
I'm
you
gonna
might want to go off camera until you figure that out.
restart.
There you go.
Is that better?
Yep, you're good. What are now? This is for the married folks because hey, what are the facts about your sex life? This some real talk right here, man. Like now, this is like married. So I'm married. So what are the
Right.
facts about that? Like you got to be real. In order to improve, you got to be real. What are the facts about your partnership and friendship with your spouse? Because that's important too. Like, are y'all like friends? Do y'all really want to be around each other? Do y'all enjoy each other? Like,
Right.
these are real things, and it can go on and on about other areas too, right?
Mm.
But I will say in some of these areas, you actually need help because you don't need to self-diagnose yourself. Sure, you may have some level of awareness, but you
Mm.
might not need to self-diagnose yourself unless you're certain because you can misdiagnose and then you don't ever get to the root. So with some of these things, relationships, sometimes you might have to just go and talk to the other person like, okay, look, I'm working to get better, but I need to know where I'm at and this involves you. So I'm going to ask you the question so to see if there's some alignment there. And you just listen and then you just record it. And then this is where coaching and mentorship or what have you come into play. Because then if you're going to get support, then you can go and say, look, this is the information I gathered. I'm certain that these are the facts. Not what I think. I'm certain that these are the facts. Now move into the game plan, the strategy, and then of course the implementation and then the tracking of that implementation on the
Right.
relationship side.
Right. No, for sure. And it just, I mean, just keeping on with the game narrative. I don't know if you're on TikTok, but someone just told me to look up ET and them on TikTok. They're on TikTok, Secret Success and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
And I saw a clip today, and I don't know what video it's from, but ET was saying, I was about to give a speech, and I was about to give a speech on the importance of the playbook and following the plays. And it was at Florida, and he just so happened to be, he ran into Tim Tebow and told Tim Tebow what he was about to talk about. And Tebow was like, "Oh man, that's interesting, but are you I'm paraphrasing, but he's like, are you going to mention the coach? Because the playbook, that's just the plays. That's really just the coach's formula. But that's his interpretation. And long story short, he was saying the playbook, following the playbook is cool and all, but what's more important is your relationship with the coach. And
Mm-hmm.
so I guess you need to recenter that with what we're talking about in the relationship. You got to figure out is there a coach between the two of you? Who's the coach? Are y'all both coaches? Do y'all need to go find a third party coach? Who's the coach? And we need to build a relationship with that coach to where we're able to be in sync. Because think about when you think about the great quarterbacks, the best ones are able to go out there and freestyle, but they're not freestyling. They're so in tune with their head coach. They call them the coach on the field for a reason. Not because they're out there doing what they want to do, but because they know, okay, the head coach gave me a play. I know why he gave me that play, but the head coach is not out here on the field at the same time. So I built up enough rapport with my coach through practice, through discipline, through whatever, to be able to assess the situation. But you mess around and go out there and freestyle. You don't have the skill, the trust from your coach, or the ability. I don't want to say the ability, but you don't have this. You missing something. You don't know what that looks like. Go look at Mr. Winston. He means well. He means well. What did he say in that press conference? He's like, man, if God can just deliver me from these pick sixes, it got nothing to do with that. What you putting me in there for?
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
like, brother, I gave you the formula. You need to go get in that room with your coach. And I'm not saying Mr. Winston's not doing that, but you get what I'm saying. Like,
Okay, so what does a pick six look like? Landing it back related to relationships, since that's what we're talking about, and obviously,
question.
what is your stat line? So the stat line in your relationship, what is it? You okay? So you've looked. The result is a pick six. What does that look like in your relationship? Because I'm all about practical. We can go personal development, and everything sounds good. But what does a pick six look like?
I'm thinking the first thing that comes to my mind is a chance where, because I think we all make mistakes, but I think a chance where you have a chance to take accountability and you don't. I think
Mm,
that's a pick six.
okay, okay, okay.
We've all been in a situation where we're all going to wrong somebody and we're all going to be wronged. But what you really take away from it is how did that person react? Not how did the person react, but how did when you were being wronged, What was their demeanor? Did they seem like they mean to wrong me, especially afterwards? You really remember how was their apology? We've seen a lot of PR situations that get worse, and because we like you didn't even mean the apology. You didn't came out and rushed out and put out a sorry apology. Now we're more mad. You know what I'm saying? And so that's you went from an interception. There's different levels to interceptions. You throw an interception because you can just read back the stat line. You can look back on the day like, dang, we did argue a couple times, or dang, I had my day wasn't the best at work or whatever. Okay, I threw the ball in the receiver's hands. He bobbled it and got tackled, and the cornerback caught it. Or I done threw it in triple coverage. You know what I'm saying? And pick six. And so there's levels to it, and that type of things matter.
Okay.
But how can we relate that? That's what I'm wondering.
No, I love that, man. That wow. See that we at the Ivy League, man. He break it down for us. I'm taking notes myself. Okay, pick six. I love that. Okay, so in your relationship, because we got to be real and authentic. What's a pick six for you? Because we talk about the authenticity and being real and relatable, right? What's a
Mhm.
pick six for you?
I'll say a pick six would be. I'm going to speak for me personally. I don't know because I'm going to speak to the quarterbacks out there. And y'all know what I mean. The quarterbacks. I'm going to speak to the quarterbacks
You
as a
the
quarterback.
quarterback and you threw a pick six in your
Exactly.
relationship.
As a quarterback, I'll say a relationship pick six would be anytime you allow.
No, not
Not
not you. You no point to yourself. Don't
You're
disassociate
right. You're right. I'm gonna keep it on
the
me.
me.
So I'm gonna give it a different example. I'm gonna take it off quarterback then. This is okay. The play. I'm gonna say the play's over, or maybe during play. Anytime you allow
No,
emotion,
you
anytime I'm
your specific scenario, like
Keon. Let's
you.
let's do this. Keon, the defender. Just play. He's a defender. Remember, I gave a defensive example. Cornerback. I locked you up. I let the argument, whatever. So Keon's foul would be this would be me getting a targeting penalty or something, or me getting a penalty that gives the offense 15 yards, even though we just locked them up. My example of that would be anytime I allow my emotion to override my logic.
Mm.
Because the way I see it, I'm the cap. I remember I'm seeing myself as a defender. I'm defending against the devil. I'm not calling my partner the devil. Y'all, please listen to me carefully. What I'm saying is, whoever your partnership is with, both of y'all are susceptible to some type of devil, whether it's a devil of emotion, just some type of spirit is going to try to interfere with. Because I find that, can't speak about most people, but on a natural day to day basis, we get along well. You know what I'm saying? We're happy, we're positive. Anytime that there's an imbalance or we have a disagreement or something, 9 times out of 10, we resolve it. And that 1 time out of 10, coach, it's on me. Coach, that was on me. I shouldn't have let it. I locked them up, coach, but I shouldn't have celebrated on top of them. I shouldn't have. I didn't cost us 15 yards. I lost us the game, coach, but I got film for the next game. I won't let it happen again. That type of situation. I don't know if that makes sense, but what do you think?
Okay, so if you had to do a one sentence, two sentence, my pick six was this. What would that be?
My pick six was as captain of the defense.
No, just my pick
Allow
six. No, don't. This is my pick six in my relationship was this.
My pick six was allowing emotion to control decision making instead of logic. You have to always be grounded in logic.
Yeah,
Always.
yeah. Okay.
You got to be like a tree. A tree can't up and decide to now I'm gonna just put my roots in the sky today. No, firm. You got to be firm in logic. That's how I see it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The reason that I was anchoring you back to be specific is because that's what happens sometimes. We generalize things and we disassociate because when it get tight, I know I was putting you on the I was putting you in the fire right there, but that's what happens.
No,
So
that's a good question though.
whenever we're tracking our stat lines, sometimes we get creative and instead of just saying what the stat line is, we start talking about other people and what people tend to do or what you need to do or what people should do. Like, no, 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 no. What you do? Like, what did you do? What is your stats? What happened? And just course correct. That's
Right.
how you keep the accountability when you keep it me, this is what happened. We all do it. We all human. And so that's where having structured accountability helps you not veer off of like the uncomfortability of your stats and the thing that you say you want to fix. If you really want to fix it, you have to be real. And that's where the facts come in at pointing at me now. A pick six for me, because we love sports, we love using the analogies. A pick six for me would be we were supposed to have a financial meeting and I let it slip and we didn't have
Mm.
it. With being a leader of the house, we were supposed to have, let's just say we had it scheduled weekly or bi-weekly on a Sunday, just for example. And I say, well, we kind of have it dialed in pretty good. and I just skipped the meeting. That's a pick six on my behalf because then I'm not being the leader that I need to be. Even with us having it dialed in, that's how you keep it dialed in is by being consistent by having the meeting, even if it's a touch point. That's a pick six in my opinion. Because what can happen is you miss one meeting, I miss one meeting, we miss one meeting, then we miss another one. Oh, we got it. And then it turns into this pattern. And then before you know it, you out of sync in your finances when you had checkpoints to just because those checkpoints were things that you can catch, like you could check your stat lines, your financial stat lines to say, okay, this is what we are, this is what we're doing, this is the goal, being able to continue to talk about the vision of where you're going with your finances, right? You don't have that check-in meeting, you're not even able to encourage, motivate it. So it might even not even be about the financial part because that's dialed in, but you lose that opportunity there. So that's a pick six, in my opinion. It sounds really small, but when it compounded over time, you end up in a scenario like Jameis Winston where you got a whole bunch of yards for the year, but your touchdown to pick ratio is a little sketchy. And we know in football, you turnovers is they would prefer you have lesser pass touchdowns if you can keep those interceptions to a minimal because turnovers is typically what loses the game because you're throwing picks at critical points in the game and that loses the game.
Right. I think I know you say it might be smaller. I think it might be bigger in terms of like, I think it's different. Like, I know we've been saying pick sixes, but pick six is more of like a unique incident, a one-time thing. I'm also thinking about like, as a leader, whether it's the quarterback or the coach, I think about, like I said, we keep talking about football, but there's a lot to be learned there from just relationship dynamics. They throw a lot of terms around that kind of like you said, we laugh about it and think about it in terms of the sport, but never could think it could happen to us. We laugh at the idea of coaches losing the locker room. You think a lot of men ain't never lost the locker room at home, or vice versa? Women lost the locker room.
Stay right there. Stay right there. Lose the locker room translation, lose your household.
You done lost trust. They don't trust you no
You
more.
done lost the trust. You done lost the inner. They don't believe in what you're talking about now because you're not leading. That's
That's
deep. Like that's deep. And that's a stat line. In order to track your stat lines, imagine giving a speech and you're like, yeah,
so
man,
what you finna do after, man?
man, they
What
just
are you talking
talking.
about?
They just talking.
Right.
And so then whenever you out, when you in the game of life, because we just talking about a game, but it's just a lot of analogies in correlation to, and landing it back to real life. When you out playing a game of life and your team is not believing in what you're doing, you're not going to win. You're not going to win.
You're gonna lose this season. Yeah. And I said that.
In the season, not to cut you off, I'm gonna let you get in. And the
Mm-hmm.
season is just a full year, like your year for your life, for your family.
For sure. Man, I'm trying not to waste any more seasons now that we putting it like this, man.
And so if you're not tracking your stat line, you're losing seasons. And the seasons of life, 1 year go by, 2 years go by, 3 years go by. Oh man, I'm not changing. You're not checking your stat lines. You're not being consistent with that.
Are you just in it for the contract, the money? You don't really care about the game.
You don't care about the game.
We can see it.
And so
What's his name on the 49ers? I don't know if you want to talk about that. You heard about that?
nah, I didn't. I ain't trying to call two people out or nothing, but
I mean, not gonna call him out, but long story short, they're just saying like the coach tapped him and said, "Hey, you want to get in the game?" And he said, "No." He got up and left. He pulled an AB. That type of situation, his takes was mad hot. So I'm not saying that they not having already said they're like, man, I can't. I don't never want to be with a teammate like that again because he broke the cardinal rule. They say, it's a team sport. You can't. He got viewed as quitting on the team, being selfish. So that's why I brought that up to tie it into. Are you in it for yourself, or do you really? Because I heard a reporter give a really good take on it. He said, like, man, yes, of course, the 49ers season is really bad. I'm gonna have to put his take in the description because it was really on point. He said, man, you're not the only person on this team going through stuff. I think Trent Williamson, I'm not gonna list everybody's tragedy, but long story short, if you Google it, like people that got shot on that team, people have lost children. Like to give examples, like, so you're not the only person. You think we all want to be out here? We 2-10 right now, or whatever the record is. We all grown men with families, and so you're just gonna walk out, coach. And what really, I guess what really made him mad, because I was like, what they so mad for? So what? I don't want him on the team anyway. Their point is, bro, we could have gave somebody else that roster spot. You didn't dressed out here in the uniform and with the intention to play. You know what I'm saying? So I guess related back to us, you didn't gave the vows. You
Oh,
said all this.
hey, come
So
on,
why do it then?
come on.
I guess that's why they
Mm.
mad. I see it then. I get it.
Wow, that's deep.
You put on the tux, but I'm stuck.
Now you good. You good.
There we go. You put on the tux. Shoot. Put
Come
my
back.
mic on.
There you go.
There we go.
Don't lose your frame of mind. There you go. Your thought. Go. Keep going.
I was just saying, yeah, you put on the tux. She put on the dress. Y'all got dressed up, got the photo shoot, did the nice wedding, draft signing. You know, he was. I didn't. I mean, I don't really follow football stat by stat, player by player, but apparently he was a Pro Bowl level player. He got traded recently to the 49ers. I can understand, like, dang, I really don't want to be in this situation. And he was coming in to replace a star player. So I guess we just want to make a takeaway from this because I don't want to dog on the man. I don't know what he was going through.
Yeah. All right. So bring it, blend it, and make it relatable to the folks watching.
So to make it relatable to us, so he was brought in. The main
No.
reason
Yeah. Go ahead.
he was brought in because there was an injury on the team. You know, in NFL, this happens. There was injury on the team. And so he was brought in from day one with the expectation, like, hey, he's injured, but he's not, you know, he hasn't passed. He's gonna come back one day and play with us. He's still our guy, number one. You know, so can you fill in this spot? So the point is he knew what he signed up for. He knew that this guy was gonna come back. And for him to perform the way he performed, I'm not going to speak ill, but I advise you to look at the way his teammates and the coach and the team letting him go. Let that reaction kind of dictate what they view of that. And so, relating it back to us, you know what you're signing up for from day one. So you can't on day, whether it's day
Practical.
two,
Go practical. So practical, like you said, practical. So
day one is the wedding.
Okay. Okay.
Nothing because nothing before that really matters. Day one is I do. So you know what you're signing up for on day one. He signed day one. I'm gonna sign the contract. Yeah, he's injured. Okay, y'all need a spot. Okay. Day one, I do. I love you. Yes, I do. Yes. Honeymoon. Day two, day three. You can't then on whatever day 100, day 200, when the time comes for you to fulfill your role that you said I do, you know, in sickness and in health and this and that everyone's happy on day one. No one signs the contract. Well, I ain't gonna say that. People do things, but everyone's happy on day one. But do you have the integrity to not sign the contract if you know you're not gonna go through on it? Do you have the integrity to not enter into the union if you don't really feel like you can fulfill the duties? Because sometimes you can get trapped into it. I mean, think about it from his perspective. Y'all offer me $10 million. I really don't want to play. Y'all offer me $10 million. I don't know if I don't know if I have the integrity to turn down $10 million. I don't know. I'm not in this position, but related back to us, it's a business. It's not just about love anymore. When you get married, like that's, or when you take it off love, we can talk about marriage. But when you go to work for a company, we're not just up here for a hobby. We trust each other.
No,
Kind of like,
yeah, okay. You talking about, all right, hold on now. So you said, so you're making it relate to the people. We talking about relationships naturally. So you said one, you said I do. Two, what's two? Give us two.
So I was saying that's day one. Day one is saying like I do.
Okay.
To keep it 1-on-1. Day one, I do. Day one, he signed his contract, got traded. Whatever.
No. We talking about the audience right now. We done with football analogies. One, you said
day 10. Let's say day whatever. Day 10, 100. Let's give an example. Okay.
2 years in, you 3 years in, you 4 years in.
That or that honeymoon phase is over.
Okay.
Y'all have y'all first argument. That's day one. Okay, no. That's day 100, day 20, whatever. Day
year two, year three. You know, you live in
year
life.
Three.
Relationship.
Y'all have a rough argument. How do you react? Do you he sign? You Campbell, he sign? You pull out the parachute, hit the eject, or do you ride it out with your team? Hey, this is gonna be today is gonna be a rough loss, regardless of what we do. We go out and score 21 straight. We're down 40. But are we gonna stick it out for the rest of the day? Okay, we didn't argue, but let's just end the day on a good note, or whatever that looks like in the week, the month. Y'all might have been arguing for a week straight, a month straight. But are you able to still tap into that energy that you tapped in on day one when you said I do? Because something made him sign a contract. Yeah, I want to do it. Keep that same energy throughout. Because that's what's going to keep it going. People say to what we're talking about. We look at the 90-year-old couple, how did they do it? Every single day they made the choice to do it. It's not that complicated. Please stop trying to complicate it. Every day, wake up and make the choice to say yes.
Yeah. Okay. I love that. So I'm gonna expand on that or just share my perspective because this is we're talking about what's your stat line and this as it relates to your relationships, right? And so you were giving an example of losing your home, losing your team.
Yep.
The home team is not, they don't even believe in what you're saying no more.
Your own team.
Your own team doesn't believe in you, meaning your wife doesn't believe in you anymore.
Your kids might not believe in you.
You know, if you have kids, what do you do? Like, what do you do? Are you going to eject out? Are you going to quit?
Mm.
Or are you going to understand, hey, this is what we are. This is the stat line. And then work, now that you know what the facts are, then go get the support, coaching to help you get unstuck and put together a game plan and walk it
Mm.
out. And walk it out, track, assess, make adjustments. There's going to be some bumps, some bruises, some wins, some small losses. But the biggest thing is, are you improving? And that's what it's about. Just never, ever quitting or giving up. And so I just always like to make it practical for people. And I encourage you to check your stat line. Like, what's your stat line? We're talking about relationships today. And we love talking about money, but this is crucial. If you don't have home team advantage, it's rough to make money.
Oh man,
You're straight.
playing away every night.
You're playing away every game of in the game of life.
Yeah, that's right.
Stress that home, then you go out and you're working, so you're stressed before you even start. So you're playing from behind, and then you go out. There's no way you're going to be able to get optimal performance if you don't have the home team advantage. So want to leave you with that. Really appreciate you all tuning in. I think that's a good landing point. But man, this was a good one. I know folks are like, man, y'all ain't talk about no money. No, this is the money.
Yeah.
This is the money. This is information and what people really need to be talking about. Like, I know it doesn't sound sexy, but this is where you start to have those quantum leaps, or though, and it starts to compound. And then on the outside, people are like, man, how are you doing that? Like, what's the secret? This is the secret. Like this, the in between in the trenches time is the secret. So I want you to stay encouraged. We'll continue to be transparent. And this is, I would say, we're going to work on the titling and all that. But I would even go to say these are weekly accountability check-ins with us pointing at ourselves and just living life and being open and real with you. And I know there's a lot of people that's like us out there. We're not perfect, as you can see. So there's many things that we can all learn together. And so what we're looking to do is build a community of folks like you and me to tune in. We'll eventually have a Patreon or something, but for now, it's helping us be accountable for what our goals are, and hopefully, it's something that you can tune into to be encouraged, because you might have just had your pick six as it relates to, we talking about relationships now, but maybe you had a pick six with your finances, or maybe you had a pick six with your health. Hey, we all in this journey. Life is long, and so what I would do is encourage you to keep moving forward no matter what. Don't forget to subscribe, drop a comment. We appreciate y'all tuning in, and we'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.